How's it going, everyone? Austin Honecker here. I just wanted to come on here for a while and give him a review for All Elite Wrestling's AEW Dynamite Grand Slam from last night, which was September 22nd, 2021. I gotta say, it was awesome from start to finish. For the matches, match one, it was Bryan Danielson versus Kenny Omega. That was a great match, but the ending to it, neither Bryan Danielson or Kenny Omega went over because the match ended in a time limit draw. Well, after the match, as the time ran out and the bell rang, Bryan Danielson and Kenny Omega were continuing to beat the shit out of each other, and Bryan Danielson executed the LaBelle lock on Kenny Omega, and the referees and the coaches and the trainers that they were trying to get Bryan Danielson off Kenny Omega, but to no avail. And then the Super Clique, which are Matt Jackson, Nick Jackson, and Adam Cole, came out and threw Bryan Danielson off of Kenny Omega, and the referees, the trainers, and the coaches were checking on Bryan Danielson, and Kenny Omega rolled out of the ring, and Kenny Omega and Don Callis were leaving the ring, and Matt Jackson, Nick Jackson, and Adam Cole attacked Bryan Danielson with a triple super kick. And then Christian Cage and the Jurassic Express, which are Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus, came out to the aid of Bryan Danielson, and Christian Cage and the Jurassic Express brawled with the Super Clique, and Christian Cage and the Jurassic Express got the best of it and beat the shit out of the Super Clique, and so Matt Jackson, Nick Jackson, and Adam Cole retreated, and Christian Cage and the Jurassic Express stood tall in the ring while the Super Clique were outside the ring, staring Christian Cage and the Jurassic Express down, while the referees, the trainers, and the coaches were checking on Bryan Danielson and everything. That was cool. And that was after the match, by the way. Match 2, it was MJF versus Brian Pillman Jr. That was a great match, but the ending to it, MJF went over with the Salt of the Earth. That was match 2, by the way. Match three, it was Malachi Black versus Cody Rhodes. That was a great match, but the ending to it, Malachi Black went over with a small package. Match 4, that was match 3, by the way. Match 4, it was Sting and Darby Allin versus FTR, which are Dax Harwood and Cash Wheeler. That was a great match, but the ending to it, Sting and Darby Allin went over cause Sting made Dax Harwood tap out to the Scorpion Deathlock. That was match 4, by the way. And match 5, which was the main event, it was Brit Baker versus Ruby Soho for the AEW Women's title. That was a great match, but the ending to it, Britt Baker went over and retained the AEW Women's title with the lockjaw. Now, besides the matches, CM Punk, besides the matches, CM Punk came out with a microphone and besides the matches, CM Punk came out and got a microphone and cut a promo, and CM Punk was talking about how it was great to be back in New York City, and how professional wrestling hasn't been in New York City in a long time, and how it was great to be back, and how he's glad to be back in the business of professional wrestling and everything. And then CM Punk was also talking about how Team Taz, which are Taz, Powerhouse Hobbs, and Hook, were how Team Taz, which are Taz, Powerhouse Hobbs, and Hook. Hold up. But besides the matches, CM Punk came out and got a microphone and cut a promo, and CM Punk, CM Punk was talking about how it was great to be back in New York City and how professional wrestling hasn't been in New York City in a long time and everything. And then CM Punk was talking about Team Taz, which are Taz, Powerhouse Hobbs, and Hook, about their plan last week on AEW Dynamite and everything. How how he was tricked, how Team Taz tricked him, and how Powerhouse Hobbs chokeslammed him through the announce table, executed a chokeslam to him through the announce table and everything. And then CM Punk was also talking about how Team Taz didn't kill him or anything, and saying that they should have killed him or whatever, because now that they didn't kill him and didn't finish the job, it's not his responsibility to keep Powerhouse Hobbs awake. It's his job to put Powerhouse Hobbs to sleep, and that's what he's going to do. And CM Punk was saying that's what he's going to do to Powerhouse Hobbs on Friday night on AEW Rampage Grand Slam. So CM Punk was talking about CM Punk was pretty much talking about New York City and professional wrestling and talking about Team Taz and everything in the promo. That was cool. Alex Marvez interviewed the Inner Circle, which are Chris Jericho and Jake Hager, and Alex Marvez was asking Chris Jericho and Jake Hager about their tag team match against Men of the Year, which are Scorpio Sky and Ethan Page, on AEW Rampage Grand Slam Friday night and everything. And then Jake Hager was saying, Men of the Year, more like Boys of the Week. You all are going to listen to a fat piece of shit and everything. Jake Hager was saying, Men of the Year, more like Boys of the Week. Well, listen, boys, this Friday night on AEW Rampage Grand Slam, you all made a big mistake by listening to a fat piece of shit. Yeah. And then Chris Jericho was saying, Scorpio Sky, Ethan Page, come Friday night on AEW Rampage Grand Slam, the Big Hoss and Le Champion, we're going to kick both your asses. And Dan Lambert, if you continue to disrespect us, he said, and Dan Lambert, you want to challenge us? Well, I'm going to bite your nose off and I'm going to spit it in your face like Haku did back in the day. So be prepared, boys, because Jake Hager and we're going to kick both Scorpio Sky and Ethan Page's asses on AEW Rampage Grand Slam Friday night and everything. That was cool. And AEW aired a video package of the build-up of the match between Miro versus Sammy Guevara for the AEW TNT title next week on AEW Dynamite. That was cool. Now, besides all that, Jim Ross, Tony Schiavone, and Excalibur done commentary throughout the whole show. They done awesome as usual. And the referees for the event were Rick Knox, Paul Turner, Bryce Remsburg, and Aubrey Edwards. Okay. Paul Turner refereed the match between Bryan Danielson versus Kenny Omega. That's Paul Turner, by the way. Rick Knox refereed the match between MJF versus Brian Pillman Jr. That was Rick Knox, by the way. Paul Turner refereed the match between Malachi Black versus Cody Rhodes. That was Paul Turner, by the way. Bryce Remsburg refereed the match between Sting and Darby Allin versus FTR. That was Bryce Remsburg, by the way. And Aubrey Edwards refereed the match between Britt Baker versus Ruby Soho for the AEW Women's title. All the referees done awesome as usual. Now, the match card that's been announced so far for All Elite Wrestling's AEW Dynamite next week, it's going to be Miro versus Sammy Guevara for the AEW TNT title. That's the only match that's been announced for next week, and that's going to be awesome. Now, and the match card for All Elite Wrestling's AEW Rampage Grand Slam tomorrow night, it's going to be Christian Cage and the Jurassic Express, which are Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus, versus the Super Click, which are Matt Jackson, Nick Jackson, and Adam Cole. The Inner Circle, which are Chris Jericho and Jake Hager, versus Men of the Year, which are Scorpio Sky and Ethan Page. CM Punk versus Powerhouse Hobbs. Jon Moxley and Eddie Kingston versus Suzuki Goon, which are Lance Archer and Minoru Suzuki, in a lights out match. The Lucha Brothers, which are Rey Fenix and Penta El Cerro Miedo, and Proud and Powerful, which are Santana and Ortiz, versus the Hardy Family Office, which are Mark Quinn, Isaiah Cassidy, The Butcher and the Blade, and Anna Jay versus Penelope Ford. Those are the matches that have been announced for AEW Rampage Grand Slam for tomorrow night. But the match card for AEW Rampage Grand Slam looks like it's going to be awesome. I'm looking forward to it. Can't wait to see it. But anyway, I just wanted to come on here for a while and I just wanted to come on here for a while, and give my review for All Elite Wrestling's AEW Dynamite Grand Slam from last night, which was September 22nd, 2021. Like I said, it was awesome from start to finish. And with that being said, my name is Austin Honecker, and I will catch your ass down the road. Peace out.